Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, all of that good stuff. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. As you can see, people, I'm not in my usual surroundings. I'm currently away in Saudi, and today I'm going to be bringing you a little bit of a different video. It's not Chelsea related. It's going to be related to my time in Saudi, and in particular the Saudi Pro League. Now, obviously, I've been to a couple of games. The two biggest games are Al Hilal against Al Nassr, and obviously Al Ahly versus Al Ittihad in Jeddah. And I'm just going to be talking about my experience, the difference between the leagues, etc., and whatnot. And yeah, I have to say, guys, it's been a good experience. It's been different to the Premier League, different to what I'm used to in terms of going to Chelsea games and following Chelsea up and down the country. I'm sure we're all aware of the Saudi Pro League and the money that's being paid to players to get them to come over, the stars they're looking at signing and whatnot. And the project is obviously still in its infancy, no doubt about it. And my view is going to be slightly different because obviously I've been to watch the four best teams in the league with all the best players. Obviously lower down the league, the quality of teams is not so good, and that obviously needs to improve and whatnot. But in terms of my experience, I was pleasantly surprised, pleasantly surprised. I think a lot of us get caught up in just watching the Premier League and we're not really aware of other leagues out there, or there's kind of a disrespect towards other leagues. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the Saudi Pro League is unbelievable quality or anything like that, and it's still absolutely got a long, long way to go. But I was pleasantly surprised. The stadiums are very nice. I mean, obviously the one at Al Hilal Stadium, Kingdom Arena, it's an indoor arena, which was interesting, permanent roof on. I think the capacity is only about 28K, so it's quite small compared to most Premier League stadiums, but the atmosphere was very good. And one thing I would say, guys, is that the fans are exceptional. The fans are exceptional. Certainly for the big clubs. I mean, I can't speak for the clubs mid-table and lower down the league, but certainly for the four big teams, the fans were exceptional. The atmosphere is great. There's tifos, there's chanting, there's flags, there's scarves, all that sort of stuff. And I have to say, the fan experience is a lot better. I'm sure a lot of you watching this will have been to a lot of Premier League games or just games in the UK in general, or maybe some of you have been to games in Europe and whatnot. I have to say, from my experience in the Premier League, the fan experience, the match day experience is not great. We have to be real here. It's not great. The match day experience at Stamford Bridge, I think, is pretty poor. Now, look, I'm not going to Stamford Bridge for a match day experience. I'm going to watch the game. I'm fortunate and lucky enough to go to a lot of the games, so I'm going to watch the game, and that's kind of it, really. But I can understand if you're a tourist or if you're going for the first time, you want a bit more than that. You want to be able to do things in the surrounding area. You want to be able to go and do various different things and try different things out in and around the stadium. And there simply isn't that match day experience at Premier League grounds. So over in Saudi, guys, there was good match day experience, particularly Kingdom Arena. That the fan experience is very different in terms of, you go through the security and all that usual business, and then there's like a fan park. There's loads of different food trucks. There's games and stuff. There's PlayStation things. There's football games in terms of like crossbar challenge type things. It's a very immersive experience. And there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do before the game, and there's lots of things to do in and around the stadium as well, which the same cannot be said for the Premier League. So it is very interesting in that respect. And I think the Premier League in general, in terms of match day experience for fans, has got a lot to do. Now, I'm not saying that, Saudi is the, the hallmark and the standard bearer for match day experience. But from my experience of going, it's the match day experience. It was a far better match day experience in general than any Premier League games that I've been to, which is not really something I thought I'd be saying. But yeah, in terms of atmosphere, great, tifos and whatnot, and constant chanting and noise. And that's one thing I think we can all agree with in the Premier League, particularly Chelsea. The atmosphere is not good. There was more noise in a 25,000-seater stadium here for this game than I've experienced pretty much all season, bar one or two games maybe at Chelsea. And that's just the reality. The fans, I feel, are a lot more passionate. But having said that, I'll tell you what, the viewing experience is different in terms of, it's not like the Premier League where you're stood up most of the game. People sit down, but if players do something wrong or they don't like what the players are doing, they let them know. But there was none of this. I wasn't like at a Chelsea game where it's like, oh, effing this, effing that, wanker this, wanker that. You know, there was no kind of like swearing or anything like that. I mean, maybe it's just because I didn't understand the language, but yeah, it was different in that sense. But they are very passionate, and they are fully aware of letting the players know if they're not happy with what they're seeing. But in terms of the quality of football, I think that's, you know, what most of you will be interested in. And as I said, it's obviously, my view is going to be slightly warped because I've watched the 4 best teams in action with the best players. So there's going to be a higher quality. But I was surprised by the pace of the game, the intensity, the tactical element. And don't get me wrong, nowhere near as intense as the Premier League. Nowhere near as physical as the Premier League, you know. The pace of the game was probably a little bit slower. Tactically, it was very good. And the quality was a lot better than I was expecting. I have to be real, you know. I mean, obviously, when you got players like Cristiano Ronaldo, John Duran, Sadio Mane still doing his thing. Obviously, good to see Koulibaly, former Chelsea guy, doing his thing. You've got Mitrovic there, and Malcolm, who's done very well. A lot of good foreign players. And the quality was good. You know, there's still a long way to go. Don't get me wrong, there's still a long way to go. But I believe, you know, they're serious about this project and making this league one of the best leagues. And, you know, it's obviously in the infancy right now, but there's no reason potentially why it couldn't get there. You know, in terms of the you know, the quality of the players and whatnot, things will only get better as more players come, as things continue to develop, as more money's put into, you know, footballing infrastructure and things like that. But I was surprised at how good the quality was. I was surprised at how tactical it was. I was surprised at the technical quality of it as well. As I said, intensity not quite what I'm used to, but, you know, good none the same. And, you know, you look at, for example, I was at the Jeddah derby, Al Ahly against Al Ittihad on Saturday night. I tell you what, N'Golo Kante could still be playing in the Premier League. The guy was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal, and it was a real pleasure to be able to see him again in action, in the flesh. Obviously, a bit of a throwback, but the guy is so good, and, you know, he should still be playing in the Premier League. But, you know, what a player, what a guy. Ivan Toney was decent as well. Riyad Mahrez doing his thing. There's Fabinho there, Edouard Mendy in goal as well. You know, a couple of former Chelsea guys in action as well. And, you know, the stadiums are good. That was a 60,000 seater stadium in Jeddah. You know, great atmosphere, great views, you know, and something maybe the Premier League, I'm not saying the Premier League needs to learn from a stadium or anything like that, but certainly in terms of atmosphere, tifos is not really something you see an awful lot of in the Premier League, to be honest. You know, that you occasionally see it, but not all the time. I'm not saying that Premier League fans aren't passionate, but it does open your eyes when you go to other countries and experience football in other ways, how maybe more passionate the fans are, or maybe they at least they outwardly show it more from my experience. So yeah, I mean, the quality was good, guys. I mean, look, the World Cup's come into Saudi in 2034. They're constantly putting money into football. They're looking to get the best players. Maybe De Bruyne comes this summer. Maybe Victor Osimhen comes to Saudi. You know, Darwin Núñez. You know, these are kind of players that they could well be looking at. And the more high quality players that come, obviously the product of the league is going to get better. There's no doubt about it. But look, my experience was a good experience. I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed myself. It made a difference from being stressed out by Chelsea on a weekly basis. There was none of this kind of passing out from the back, boring football and whatnot. It was nice to watch a game and, you know, be able to enjoy it from a neutral perspective and not be stressing about, oh, why has so-and-so done this? Why hasn't so-and-so come on and whatnot? And yeah, I would highly recommend coming out to watch some games if you're able to. I thought it was a good experience for sure. And certainly in the years to come, it will definitely, in my opinion, get better. But yeah, that's where I've been, guys. If you've been wondering why I've been missing in action on the channel a little bit, I've been having a little bit of a break, recharging the batteries and whatnot, experiencing some different football, different culture, and then also be back for the run-in and maybe looking a bit more stressed than I currently am as we look to obviously win the Conference League and the Champions League. But yeah, guys, that's just my thoughts on my experience at the Saudi Pro League. Pleasantly surprised. A nice change of pace, a nice, you know, recharge of the battery, something a little bit different. And yeah, some things that certainly the Premier League could learn from in terms of match day experience and fan experience. tickets very, very cheap as well. I think it was like 20 quid to go to a big derby game. And by the way, as well, you know, prices of stuff very cheap. I had 2 bottles of water and a chicken burger at a game. Cost me £3.71. Stamford Bridge, Premier League, could never. So yeah, that's another big thing as well. Fans are valued and fans aren't ripped off, which seems to be the thing in the Premier League. Premier League, you're not fans, you're customers, you're consumers, you know. You're viewed in that way. Whereas I think here, from my experience, you're valued as a fan and you are treated in that way and you're not, you know, ripped off and whatnot. But yeah, guys, that's a different conversation. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on it. Slightly different video, of course. I'll be back for the next Chelsea game, obviously not in Warsaw, but Ipswich, and then, you know, big running, guys. So yeah, let's hope we can do it. Hope you enjoyed the video, people. Up the Chelsea, smash the like, subscribe, thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you again in another one soon.